Boruto could possibly unlock a number of elemental creatures, and by the end of this video, you will find out exactly how. You must have heard me talk about how Boruto's karma will allow him to use Momoshiki's powers soon, and why they may have been keeping it for the time skip. But the fun part is not the karma itself, rather the abilities that Boruto will be able to pull off once he gains the master control over it. Till now, Momoshiki did not use a lot of his own powers after taking control of Boruto's body, and I think there are justified reasons. There are a limited number of things that he could have done using his vessel due to visible chakra issues. Momoshiki's abilities in his original form, such as creating massive elemental creatures or using space-time manipulation, require some immense chakra reserves typical of an Ōtsutsuki. Boruto, on the other hand, despite being a prodigy with Uzumaki and Hyūga heritage, has a finite human chakra pool which may be insufficient to fuel these high energy techniques. Well, all of that makes sense until we include one major puzzle piece which could literally lead to Boruto unlocking the same feats. It was the revival event that we got to see in chapter 67, where Momoshiki used his powers to revitalize his vessel and turn him into an Ōtsutsuki. We haven't seen a full-fledged takeover since that day, and the fact that Momoshiki was confident in becoming Boruto right after the fulfillment of his prophecy kinda hints that he would have awakened all his powers through his body too after using his full karma experience. But even though that's not likely to happen, based on how Momoshiki has been absent from the plot and there are no hints of his intervention so far, what if Boruto could now replicate these elemental techniques based on the simple fact that he's much more powerful now, meaning he would have a better chakra control as well. Now here is the thing, we haven't seen Boruto using the karma in the time skip, which means there is still a side of him that we are yet to see. The battle from the future where he's fighting Kawaki feels like an all-out match where he won't be holding back anything. And this makes one thing clear, that whatever powers he's holding under his sleeve will be revealed to us by the time this fight takes place. This includes every ability of Momoshiki that he hasn't used, be it the elemental creatures or the black receiver rods that can only be manifested by the Rinnegan. But the Rinnegan was also one of the main abilities of Momoshiki, meaning it would also be unlocked by the karma seal. Now there are a few reasonable causes for him to not use the karma at this point. First, it's the fear of Momoshiki's takeover, and second, it's the fact that it's an unpredictable card. He hasn't used the karma in years, so even if the threat of Momoshiki is gone, it will still take him ample amount of time to get used to utilizing pure Ōtsutsuki power. But I believe he would be able to do it much faster thanks to Kashin Koji, whose ability to look forward in time has already made him way too overpowered without even relying on the karma. Now when Koji would run the futures that have Boruto using the karma at full-fledged scale, it would be easier for him to grasp all those concepts and master the techniques early. We have already seen Boruto using the karma in the future sequence, which is likely going to take place in a year or so from now in the story. We also know that Kashin Koji can look as far as 7 years into the future, cause that's when Boruto mastered the flying Raijin in one of the timelines, meaning if he wants, he can actually get a glimpse of futures where Boruto uses the karma against Kawaki and all the other foes, just to give better instructions to the present Boruto in utilizing the seal a lot better. So right now they are just avoiding the karma completely due to the possibility of Momoshiki's emergence, but once that threat is gone, they would finally be able to check a lot of timelines where Boruto does use the karma that would help him teach this power to him in a better way. Now here is the thing. The biggest bet that Boruto has when it comes to the karma is utilizing the majestic elemental powers of Momoshiki, which help him to manifest elemental creatures such as the lava golem and the phoenix. He could use them to literally have a greater edge over foes like Jura if they ever end up changing forms to go big, and that might be the last card in the sleeve of the Shinju based on the possibility that Boruto and Kawaki might find a way to overpower his base form. But the thing which becomes a problem here is that Momoshiki can be seen absorbing Nine-Tails chakra from Naruto before Sasuke and the others entered this dimension, which led to this huge battle where he manifested his lava golem and phoenix. So maybe Momoshiki, without absorbing so much chakra, wouldn't have been able to bring forth his elemental warriors. And when we talk about Boruto, even though he's an Ōtsutsuki, he's not amped by Kurama like Naruto, so he would need to find a strong chakra source to create elemental creatures out of the karma. And this is where my two unique theories kick in, with the first one that I love to call two blue vortex, and the second one goes something like, let's say, a new form of chakra. So as for the first one, I believe the person who would act as Boruto's infinite chakra source could be his own sister Himawari, and that's how I came up with the name of this theory as two blue vortex, cause I firmly believe that Boruto and Himawari may be the ones who would push the story forward together, with Boruto playing the role of saving the timeline by using the knowledge of Kashin Koji, and Himawari having a high stakes role, which was to become the target of the main villain. I think things are lining up perfectly. What's more interesting is that Himawari now has Kurama, and she can exhibit his powers to have an even greater role in the story. But do you remember when was the last time when Momoshiki and Kurama interacted with each other? Well, it wasn't a direct interaction, but Momoshiki has used his chakra not once but twice to amp up himself before and during battles, and that's where the theory kicks in. Himawari could lend Boruto some chakra that he would absorb through his karma to do the same miracles that Momoshiki had performed in the beginning of the story. From the elemental beast to using space-time ninjutsu without relying on another karma user, Boruto could do all that if he gets an enormous stock of chakra, with Himawari being the perfect person who could source it to him. It would also mirror how Momoshiki used Biju chakra to create and amplify a number of abilities. Boruto could do just that, but in the right cause. Maybe in order to turn a losing battle into a victory, or something even crazier which is yet to be revealed. We already have the possibility of Sarada fusing her Susanoo with Himawari's KCM mode, and the fact that the main character could do wonders with a lot of chakra. Why not just give it to him to unveil his true potential? Now there are a few reasons for me to believe that this theory could work out. First off, it will push forward the two blue vortex narrative, where it will be finally revealed that it was the Uzumaki siblings from the beginning who were destined to save the world. Both of Naruto's children, who was the original protagonist, would get the spotlight they deserve, adding to their personal development, and by the time the story ends, it won't feel like one of them was well written while the other was not. Also, Kishimoto was not good at writing females in Naruto, so by giving Himawari all the limelight, he could finally be doing justice to the female cast by giving them the spotlight that they deserve. Now before moving on to the second theory of how Boruto will get too much chakra for the massive abilities of Momoshiki, let's first go through some hints which indicate he might have already unlocked the Rinnegan of Momoshiki in his right hand. For some reasons, Boruto covers his left hand with the glove, and while it could be because it gives him a good grip while using the sword, what if the real reason is completely different? It could be that his body will start to replicate Momoshiki's physiology, meaning he could have awakened a golden Rinnegan in one of his hands. We know he did use the karma once, during the battle with Code, which would be revealed to us in one of the flashbacks in the future, probably during the return of Momoshiki in the story. So could it be that his activation of the karma seal ends up making changes to his body, making it more and more Ōtsutsuki, not just from inside, but from the appearance as well? And if that's the case, then there is a chance for a Rinnegan to be concealed under his glove. Now let's move on to that secret chakra source theory that Boruto could be using to manifest the most powerful techniques of Momoshiki. First off, we will need to understand the nature of Momoshiki's elemental powers. The fire-style phoenix-like creature or the earth-style golem are constructs made of chakra infused with specific elemental natures. These beast creatures are not summoned, but rather a manifestation of Momoshiki's immense chakra reserves, enhanced by his Ōtsutsuki abilities to absorb and amplify techniques. Creating such massive constructs would require an enormous amount of chakra, far beyond what most shinobi can produce naturally. Momoshiki's ability to absorb chakra from others and his Ōtsutsuki physiology allowed him to generate these monsters with precise control over their form and elemental properties. Now as for Boruto's power to tap into planetary chakra for Rasengan Uzuhiko, indicates that he can channel and control a vast external energy source. This chakra is theoretically limitless, cause it's derived from the rotation of Earth, making it a viable substitute for the massive chakra reserves that Momoshiki used to create elemental beasts. Boruto would need to refine his control over planetary chakra, channeling it into a stable, moldable form rather than the chaotic spinning energy of Uzuhiko. This might involve training to modulate the flow of planetary chakra, similar to how Naruto learned to control the Nine-Tails chakra. Now the most interesting part is that this planetary chakra is derived from the rotational energy of Earth. It's a unique external chakra source, distinct from a shinobi's personal chakra or senjutsu. It also represents a vast, nearly infinite energy pool tied to the planet's physical motion. ocean. Now as for its connection to elements, the Earth as a physical entity is composed of all the classical elements which are recognized in the Naruto universe. Fire is associated with volcanic activity, magma, and heat within the core of Earth. Water is found in oceans, rivers, and atmospheric moisture. Wind is represented by atmospheric currents and winds driven by the planet's rotation. And finally, lightning is linked to atmospheric phenomenon like the thunderstorms, which are influenced by the electromagnetic field and rotation of Earth. This makes planetary chakra a versatile medium for elemental manipulation, enhancing the theory of Boruto creating elemental beasts. Now here is how planetary chakra could interact with elements given that they are inherent to the planet. By the way, if you are enjoying the video, make sure to subscribe and join the bell gang to never miss another upload. The rotation of Earth is not limited to kinetic energy, it also influences natural phenomena tied to the elements. For example, the Coriolis effect shapes wind patterns, ocean currents, and weather systems, all of which are associated with wind, water, and lightning. Volcanic activity and tectonic movements are tied to fire and earth. This means planetary chakra as a product of this rotation could theoretically contain or interact with the elemental signatures of these phenomena. For instance, the planet's crust and tectonic activity would provide a direct source for Earth's chakra. The geothermal energy of the core could allow access to the fire chakra. The electromagnetic field influenced by its rotation could be used to channel lightning chakra. By tapping into the energy of oceanic currents influenced by the Earth's spin, he could channel water chakra and so on. Now using this understanding of chakra natures, Boruto can theoretically isolate the elemental component within the planetary chakra. Let's take some examples to understand this better. For a wind beast, he could focus on the atmospheric currents influenced by the spin of the planet, which would channel wind chakra into the construct. For a fire beast, he could tap into the geothermal energy of the core, infusing fire chakra. This process might require him to develop a new technique or refine Rinnegan Uzuhiko to filter planetary chakra into specific elemental streams. And this elemental diversity of Earth would allow for varied designs, like the fire dragon, a swirling tornado-like creature with cutting winds, a fire phoenix, similar to the one used by Momoshiki, as well as the earth golem. On top of that, he could even unlock a water serpent, a wave-like creature tied to oceanic currents, and lastly a lightning tiger, an electrified beast powered by atmospheric storms. So in a nutshell, the planetary energy was not just a chakra source for Uzuhiko. Instead, it could be a baseline for Boruto to dive into elemental powers and create various broken techniques and beasts out of it. You can check out these videos for more amazing theories. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stuff. I will see you next time.